Hello and welcome to another Yapping at Midnight. Now, as you guys already know, with this, it's kind of a little side thing where we're going to talk about whatever the heck we're going to talk about. It's no real structure or order, and there will be probably no editing, or if there is some editing, it's going to be the bare minimum. Now, tonight, we I say we, I shouldn't say we. Tonight I'm with, yeah, well, this might be edited out, then it might not. I don't know. But tonight I am with someone who works behind the scenes on Unexplained Possibilities, who kicks butt at running the Facebook page, the one, the only. You might know her as NGK, and I know her as Angie.
Hello.
So, how does it feel finally being on air?
I don't know. Normal, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, it's not live or anything, so I'm good.
Okay. Well, what if we were
And
live?
I'm talking to you, so I don't see any difference now.
Oh, well, fine. Bleh. So, as you guys may have noticed, Angie has a slight accent, and that is because she's from good old Slovakia. And I quite like her accent, and I'm going to ask her to do something for me, which I didn't tell her previously I was going to ask. Angie, can you say in your native tongue, hello and welcome to Unexplained Possibilities?
Also, do you want me to translate the name of your show too, or only the greeting part?
All of it.
Okay. I don't think I can do that. Usually the names cannot be
Oh,
translated.
okay, you don't
Oh,
have to
but
translate the name.
now I'm thinking like, oh my goodness, I don't know how should I translate it? Unexplained possibilities.
You don't
I
have
don't know.
you don't have to translate the name then.
Yeah, now I'm speechless. I'm like, oh my wow.
Well,
I can't think in my native tongue. Okay, so what was it? What was the phrase you wanted me to say?
hello and welcome to Unexplained Possibilities.
Well then you have here the problem because you know that I we have like a two different politeness levels in the language. So now, okay. So should I do
Oh my gosh,
oh
Angie,
my gosh.
just
I
say
really,
hello and welcome to Unexplained Possibilities.
it's not that easy. Okay, so I will do the oh wow, I don't know. Please edit this out. This is so
I will
awkward.
not edit this out.
It's so freaking awkward. I don't know.
I'm gonna try to use a translate. This isn't gonna go good, and I'll try and say it.
Well, hello and welcome is Dobry dzień a witajcie. But unexplained possibilities are I
Holy
can trans
Christ! How do you
I can
say
trans
this?
I already said it. Dobry dzień a witajcie.
Well, no, I was looking at the unexplained possibilities part.
I told you it cannot be translated.
I don't know what this is. This is some type of
Nevysvětlitelné možnosti.
huh?
To link it to me. Okay. Yeah,
What?
that's what I said just now.
Oh,
Nevysvětlitelné možnosti.
oh my gosh! I cannot say. Dobry den vyžadné nevyšavšly mozonci.
Well, you know that you sound aggressive, so
Well, that's the best I can do. And yeah, when I try to speak the language, I sound like a serial killer.
Yes, he does. And he's not even trying. I tried to explain the basic pronunciation to him like 100 times already, and still he doesn't do what he should do.
I've been trying. Dobry den, vijate na, nevid, stelid, nid, mozanotsi.
Well, it was definitely much better than the first time, but yeah, I told you that when you see a letter J, it's not pronounced as J, but it's pronounced like Y. You know, like
Then why would you have a J there? Put a Y.
I mean, your language is stupid. Mine is alright. I mean, you need to have spelling bee contests for kids because they're unable to write and speak,
Yeah, but usually the
at the
ones
same
who win
time.
that are
So
like
we can.
Indians and stuff. They don't even. They're usually not. They're not native English speakers. I don't know what that says about us. Oh, that's terrible.
Well, I don't know, but I think that people cannot spell in English, so we
But
can do that because we pronounce exactly the same thing as we write down. So
no, it's a
your language
J,
is
but it's
weird.
pronounced like a Y. That makes no sense. It's spelled Vitajte, but you pronounce it Yi. Like what is it? Viti? Vitayi? Vieti? Let's
Vista yoche.
Vitayoche.
Yeah, yes, kinda, yes.
Let's
I
just.
mean, yeah,
We're gonna get on
I,
with it.
we have the same alphabet, but our alphabet has a different pronunciation. So first of all, you need to learn alphabet and how to pronounce individual letters, and then you can do the reading part.
Yeah, this is gonna take a while. So we're gonna get on with it, and we are actually going to be yapping about a few paranormal investigation shows. And this came about because of something called Ghost Brothers. So, real quick, the top two, well, one isn't on the air at the moment. So, I guess the top paranormal show is Ghost Adventures. And when it was on the air, it was a fight between Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters. But Ghost Hunters came on before Ghost Adventures. So before Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters was very easily the number one show. Then Ghost Adventures showed up and they were duking it out. Ghost Hunters left. Ghost Adventures is numero uno, I guess you could say. And during this span, there has been a number of other paranormal investigative shows that have come about. Paranormal State, um, Paranormal Lockdown with Nick Groff, former Ghost Adventure investigator. Oh, excuse me, I got choked up for whatever reason. Anyway,
Demons,
Paranormal State,
yeah.
Paranormal Lockdown. Um, the Dead Files, which technically it's not really an investigation show, and I think Angie can't stand the Dead Files.
Well, I've seen few episodes and I didn't like it
Yeah.
naturally.
Okay. So, and one show in particular that caught my attention is called Ghost Brothers, and they originally aired on Destination America and TLC back in 2016. They had two seasons of the show. They ended in 2017, and in comparison to Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters, it's a smaller budgeted show with the production and all that, but that really shouldn't matter if you're doing paranormal investigative work. I do believe that a smaller crew, a smaller number of people works better. You could get more personal. You can. It'll lead to less staged moments and all that good stuff. And well, Ghost Brothers, it developed a type of following, but evidently not a big enough one if they were taken off the air and they didn't have a season for 2018 or 2019. And, well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I was going to do a review on Ghost Brothers, but I stopped myself because I would have ripped the show apart, and for very good reason. Like, I was. If you've seen the review of Melinda's book, it probably would have been worse than that. I was very embarrassed, insulted, offended, everything. I was going to rip him a new one. However, I stopped because they say that Ghost Brothers has a new show that's about to air, or if it's not airing. Oh, excuse me. It actually already aired. The first episode is called Ghost Brothers Haunted House Guests, and it premiered August 16th, 2019 on the Travel Channel. I have not seen that, but this is the only reason why I decided to hold off on the review and not rip them a new one. And it's because they said, oh, with the new show, we matured, we're taking a different look at things, and blah, blah, blah. Now, we're going to talk about our ideal. Angie and I, we're going to talk about our ideal investigations and techniques, this and that. But before then, um, we wanted to do a comparison, and Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, and Ghost Brothers all investigated the Marigold Hotel. Oh my God, the Marigold Hotel. Jesus Christ, that's not right.
Magnolia Plantation.
The Magnolia Plantation. However, with Ghost Hunters, it was they split it into two and stuff, so we're not going to really toss their comparison in this one. This is going to be a comparison between Ghost Adventures and Ghost Brothers because they both did full on investigations. And also right from the start, Angie does not like Zach. Which
Yeah, I don't.
that's not too much of a stretch. A lot of people have a love hate relationship with them. I don't have an issue with them. I like him until he starts talking about demon, 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 and makes himself center of attention, which
He does
interestingly
all the
enough,
time.
well, not all the time. I think he's toned down a little bit, but I I do
I
think
don't
he
think
needs.
so. I told you that today I watched, like, binge watched the season 19, and when he was speaking with a property owner, he usually always okay. So the whole crew has the experience, right? Like usually they share the same experience because they are more or less together the whole investigation. But every time he speaks with a property owner or whoever, he always speaks in first person. Yes, I have the same experience. No, not just you, but everyone around you. Like, come on, guy, come on, man.
Okay. So yeah, Angie doesn't care for Zach.
Yes. And I've heard that lots of female had or have crush on him, and I don't know why, honestly.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. There you have it, right there, Zach. You're overrated. um. Now, I think most people would agree. My favorite from Ghost Adventures is actually Aaron, and he's just so likable and so real. It is just like, dude, I don't want to go in there. Which, of course, he gets coursed in there. Um, Zach is. I'm not going to say he's a bully. I think he gets overly passionate, and he's learned a lot from his mistakes. Nick, who's no longer with them, was probably the most level headed, and then you have Billy and Jay, and they're whatever. I mean, they're just whatever. Now, I do want to say this before we jump right into it. You know Darren Evans, right, Angie?
Should I know him?
Well, considering he's been a guest on Unexplained several times, I would hope so.
Well then,
Well,
you are
just
wrong.
well, this ends that, doesn't it?
Okay, so when was he on your show?
Uh,
Long
I
time
I
ago.
think he was the second or third guest we've ever had. Then I had him back for another talk before he went to the Zozo house, and then he was with me when Eric and Sean and it was either Nicole or Bonnie first joined. So yeah, he's been
So
on.
I know that you have mentioned him several times when we were talking, but I never listened to the show when he was on.
Well,
We
fruitcake.
didn't, we didn't know each other back then.
All right, that's fine. I'll accept that. Well, anyway, he's been on Ghost Adventures and even the spin-off show a couple of times. The spin-off show is called Aftershocks. Um, and I asked him about the production and Zach and everything. And firstly, he said they are 100% real. Like, they're not bogus at all. And he said that with Zach, he gets excited. Like, he gets truly excited. He loves the paranormal, and that's one of his issues. Like, he gets so excited, and it throws others off. But okay, sorry, I had to do something real quick. But he backed up their claim that the guys are actually really close. They do a little pump up dance and stuff to try and get the energy flowing before they're filming, and then they do their thing. Um, Saying that, I think most investigators have their little warm up dance, handshake, whatever. And part of that is to just keep that positive energy flowing. So if there is something negative around, they won't have as much of an easier time getting to you. But it doesn't seem to work too much for Zach since he's always getting possessed or some mess. Uh, okay. I thought you were going to say something there, Angie, but you left me hanging.
Sorry, I was just thinking that yes, with Zach, definitely there are always demons around. Like there is a butterfly flying through, over the camera lens, and he just, oh my god, it's just a light anomaly. It's evil. We open the portal to demonic world.
So, okay, now with Ghost Brothers, where do I even start? Okay,
Well,
so
all
there.
I can
Well,
say
let
about
me
those.
introduce the
No,
people
I
first.
just wanted to say something.
Okay.
We watched the episode yesterday together with Melvin, and it was the most boring 45 minutes of my life.
All right. So the Ghost Brothers, they're three investigators. I think it's pronounced Dalen Spratt, Jawan Mass, and Marcus Harvey. Now, I want to tell you that the investigating things, that's a side gig, that's a hobby. They all have full-time jobs and careers. Dalen and Jawan, they're both fashion designers, and Marcus is a full-time barber, and he is a quote-unquote barber to the celebrities. Now, these guys, they claim to have been investigating the paranormal since 2011, and they're not actually related by blood, but they call themselves brothers because they were all in a fraternity together. So they're fraternity brothers, but it's also a double meaning to that, which I won't get into. I think it's stupid and it needs to go somewhere. Okay, Angie, you left me hanging again.
What was I supposed to
You're
say?
gonna say, ah, yes, you're right, it is stupid, but I know it. Something.
Well, I mean, yes, it is stupid, but you don't want to talk about it, so I didn't want to open this, problematic right now.
Alright, that's fine. Okay, so the Ghost Brothers, like Angie was saying, they did an investigation of Magnolia Plantation, and they did this investigation several years after the Ghost Adventures crew did it. And boy, there are differences. There are major, major differences. And Angie, you go ahead and let it rip.
Well, already said it. It was very, very boring. I don't think the. Okay, so I'm no, experts in a field or anything. So I have very little knowledge about what they do and what equipment they should use and all that stuff. However, it was just terrible. The guys used just one handheld camera and they were pointing it to their faces like Blair Witch Project or something. And they used just their smartphone as a thermal cameras and digital recorders, and it all it all feels so staged and not real. The dialogues are so stiff, and they were just running around doing nothing. I mean, honestly, I have no idea what we were looking for 45 minutes because nothing happened in the whole episode. Like, okay, few EVPs, yeah, but that's about it. I don't know. I don't believe they're phones, to be honest.
Okay. Um, oh, excuse me. So, one of the issues is, well, okay, so I said this earlier that a production budget doesn't necessarily improve an investigation. It certainly won't hurt it. And they have a lower production budget than Ghost Adventures in this case. But saying that, if they've been investigating since 2011, you would think they would have their own personal equipment that they would invest in over the years. And I didn't see that. They literally took out one REM pod. They had, of course, a couple of handheld cameras.
I
And
think it was only one.
no, it was more than one. They had a couple of cameras. But the problem is they didn't set up any cameras anywhere. They didn't have dedicated digital recorders. They were using their smartphones. They didn't use a camera with or a specialty heat monitor camera. I don't know the name of it. I can't think of the name of it. Sorry. They
Thermal
A
camera.
thermal camera. Thank you. Derp. Yeah, they didn't use a thermal camera or they didn't have a dedicated one. They were using a smartphone, which I think is kind of weird.
Yeah, and I don't even know how does it work. I mean, usually your phones are not equipped with a thingy that measures temperature around you. So
Well, the problem is they probably downloaded some free app.
yeah, I know. I mean, like, so it was just generated like randomly selected hit marks, or I don't know how to call it properly, but
Yeah,
I
and
don't think it's legit.
it was very blurry. They couldn't get a direct feed to it. It was bad. Like it just looks cheap and imitation. Just like a couple of guys who said, "Hey, let's just do the." It doesn't look like they've been investigating since 2011. And
And even their reactions, they are not very professional. They were entering this blacksmith, and well, they were too afraid to enter. I don't know if they did it for the entertainment or why, but there were two guys, and both of them was very very hesitant to enter it, and it was nothing there, just an empty space with an anvil in the middle.
Yeah.
Nothing scary to be
So
honest.
I'm wondering if they're playing it up a little bit, just the theatrics for the camera, because I'm pretty sure that the show is partially scripted, or at the very least, the producers say, "Hey, the sound was off on this. Say this over," because, like you said, the dialogue when they were conversing with one another, it just seemed fake. It just seemed like, okay, we're gonna do this over. Like, I don't care. We'll just try to say what we said a minute ago. And one example being that the two guys that you just mentioned who were supposed to go into the blacksmith, uh, Marcus and Jawan, it was like, hey, okay, so what are we gonna do? What would you do if you just got done slaving away and you're tired and it's the end of the day? You know what, bro? I know. We'd go over there to that tree and sit down. That's right, homie. Well, they didn't say homie. That's my added little
Well, but
monologue.
I think it's very accurate because
But
yeah.
yeah, and it's just like, oh god, this sounds terrible. And I mean, it was literally, even though all investigations it's you walking around, but this was like literally them walking around. And then with the EVP stuff, usually if you're gonna try and capture an EVP, you and if you get a hit, you usually don't just get two hits and then leave. It's like, wait a second, stay there for 20, 30, 40 minutes and speak. And they didn't do that, but again, it could be creative editing, as they call it, which is awfully creative. They definitely took liberties with the editing, if that is the case.
But my problem was that their EVP captures were so precise. Like every single time they were, okay, let's do EVP, and one of them asked a question, and they suddenly got a very accurate answer. And from what I see in different shows, it doesn't really happen that way all the time. It happens, but not each time you do it.
Yeah, and I do want to point out this again. I was very insulted by this, but these are three Black Americans going into a historic area where there were slaves and all this. So, this these people working, they were potentially ancestors and all that good stuff. So it should have more of a meaning and just something deeper to them, especially when it comes to the voodoo religion that was practiced on the plantation, which is the only link that Black Americans actually have to wherever their people might be from in Africa. And I hate that it's looked at as something evil and devil worshipping and all that. Such ignorance when it isn't. But whatever, that's the topic for another discussion. However, for me, I felt that they were just so disrespectful. They didn't even research any of the voodoo, and one of the morons said the only thing that he knows about voodoo is it can cure syphilis.
Oh wow, yes, now I remember. It happened in the
It's
car
like,
at
are
the
you
very
kidding
beginning of
me?
the show.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, come on, dude. Like, is this what I have to look forward to? And then even on the intro, because they're trying to make it a race thing, and because you don't see black paranormal investigators, and that's one of the.
But sorry to interrupt you, but I like how you at the very beginning of this yapping at midnight you were like, okay, I'm not going to discuss this matter why they call themselves brothers. and it's not only fraternity brothers, and now you're making the discussion you didn't want to start at the very beginning.
What? I just wasn't going into the thing about the brothers,
Okay.
but it. Well,
But
whatever.
it's one part of that's one of the stereotypes you are going to discuss right now.
Well, no, I wasn't. Not that one. So,
Okay, so you're going to mention all the other stereotypes, but not this one.
pretty much. Because number one, they spell it correctly. And, like I said, I think more so than anything, they themselves are referring to fraternity brothers. So that's why it's like, yeah, it's probably not that much of a big deal. But, what was I saying?
Well, I don't know, you were talking about the intro.
Oh, yes. Okay, so, it's three black paranormal investigators, which is something you just don't really see. And they're using it as a race point to try and get, I guess, black audiences. I mean, and that's exactly what it is. And they have these weird little catchphrases, which is nothing wrong with. Everyone has their catchphrase. I'd say, son of a monkey's uncle. And they're probably going to copyright, trademark, pop it on a shirt, sell some merchandise, which, it's a business. I get it. What I don't understand is why are they reinforcing certain stereotypes that don't need to be there, such as the buffoonery and just showing ignorance. And then in the intro, why do they have to say something like, oh, yeah, what did they say? Oh, I'm just going to play the freaking intro. Jeez, let me find it real quick. And Angie, you won't be able to hear it, but the audience will, whoever listens to this.
Okay.
So while I'm finding this, you go ahead and start yapping.
Well, that's immediate sign, to shut up.
What? No, it isn't. Oh, well.
Well, for me it is.
Alright, I just found it. So it's playing
There's
right
a
now.
new team of paranormal investigators here to answer two questions about ghost hunting. Are ghosts for real? And
why is everybody white?
Alright, so there you guys heard it. Answer two questions. Are ghosts for real? And why is everybody white? Are you kidding me? Way to go, guys. Way to start off a show.
Oh yeah, and that reminds me, Melvin sent me a little clip before we actually watched the whole episode. And the guy was doing EVP, I believe he was doing EVP, and you already know that it's recorded on their smartphones. And during the EVP session, he receives a text message, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's one of my chicks." Like such a professional behavior.
I mean, it's one thing to have your personality show. It's another just being a buffoon and a clown. And that's what they're doing. I'm not changing my opinion on that. Perhaps this new show will change my opinion. And maybe everything was just staged. It was the producer saying, hey, amp it up some. Perhaps. If that's the case, then I'll apologize. But then I'll get on their case for saying, why would you go with that and hurt your image? But yeah, on this new show, if they're not like that, I will apologize. I'll give them a fair review. I won't. Well, I'll tear the old show apart, but the new one, I'll give it a chance. I just don't understand it, especially if you're trying to get people interested who a culture of people interested who are normally not interested in this type of thing. And I could go into the reasons for that, but I won't. Not this episode. Like, this will probably be for the main show, Unexplained Possibilities, not a Yapping at Midnight. But honestly, like, these guys, they truly upset me. Like, I was embarrassed by them and just upset. And I hate that they've normalized buffoonery. And that's the best way to put it. They have normalized buffoonery. They see nothing wrong with their problems. I mean, really, you're going to show some, I think it was Nikes or Jordan. Well, again, let me just continue on with the clip here. They were showing the nice shoes for no real reason at the start.
Yeah, and the first thing I told you that, oh my goodness, they are referring to the fact that usually Black Americans love their shoes.
Yeah, I don't get it. But I do want to say they're very well spoken. They're articulate. They
Oh, they are.
yeah,
I agree.
you can
Partially, I agree.
you can understand them.
Yeah, I definitely can understand them. That's a big thing.